tell me if it's weed that you need. If you wanna breathe, I got the best weed, minus C's. Ain't nobody tripping VIP, they can't get it.
Alrighty. Phyllis, want to get us started?
Yes. Good morning and welcome to the CSU plus UC Event Professionals Network Hot Topic for April 2025. My name is Phyllis Grillo and I am the chair of the CSU plus UC Event Professionals Network. Our topic this month is From Ordinary to Extraordinary, the latest trends in event decor. Today, you will discover how to transform any space with creative, cost-effective solutions and learn how to deliver stunning visuals. Whether you are working with a small or large budget, this presentation will provide you with innovative ideas and practical tips to wow your donors and guests. We hope you brought your event ideas and challenges. Of course, we will have the Q&A session, so please feel free to add your questions to the Q&A portal as they come to you, and we'll do our best to get to them all. Please note, submit your questions into the Q&A portal as opposed to the meeting chat because it's easier for us to find them. Please also do not direct message Cori with questions. Before we get started with our introduction, if you haven't already, mark your calendars now for the CSU plus UC EPN Annual Conference. It is scheduled to be held on July 9th through the 11th at UC Berkeley. Registration is open and we still have a few rooms at the host hotel. We hope you will plan on joining us. The return on the time investment is worth it, we promise you. And without further ado, let me introduce our presenter. Cori Lambert, her, is an accomplished event planner with over a decade of experience creating unforgettable experiences in Silicon Valley and beyond. Known for her creative vision and ability to thrive under pressure, Cori has led events for some of the world's most innovative organizations, including Amazon, Facebook, and Apple. Her work spans high-level corporate gatherings, tech product launches, commencement and homecoming weekends, and large-scale experiential activations. One of her standout accomplishments includes producing events for the PGA Tour at Pebble Beach, where her attention to detail and hospitality expertise helped elevate the guest experience. She also earned industry recognition for Clint's Saloon, a Western-inspired brand activation that left a lasting impression on attendees and set a new bar for immersive storytelling. With a deep understanding of Silicon Valley's fast-paced culture, Cori brings a strategic, creative, and client-focused approach to every event she touches. She is passionate about creating meaningful connections through intentional design and unforgettable moments. And without further ado, I'll turn it over to Cori. Cori, take it away.
Thank you, Phyllis, and hello, everyone. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedules during commencement season. I'm sure you guys are all underwater right now. As Phyllis mentioned, I've been in the industry for the past 10 years. I didn't always start in the event industry. My background is in marketing, and I was lured into the event industry by a Leonardo DiCaprio Halloween party. So I was working for the Long Beach Business Journal, and my best friend had worked for Classic Party Rentals based in LA. So while I was at city council meetings and conferences about economic outlook, she was planning the Grammys and Oscars and cool events. One night she brought me in as a contractor to help produce a Halloween party for Leonardo DiCaprio at his residence. And since then, I've never looked back. I've been in the event rental industry since then. A little bit about Stuart is we do have 4 offices and we service the West Coast area with a heavy concentration in the Bay Area. We do work in Southern California as well. The bulk of our work in Southern California is large-scale tinting. And today I wanted to highlight some of the latest trends that I've been seeing and that I think are going to be very popular for the rest of the year and probably the next 2 or 3 years to come. So let's begin. The kaleidoscope theme is something that I've been seeing a lot of. This is very big in this year's gala scene. So what this theme is doing is bringing in color, which is very exciting for me. There's been so much wood, so much cream and beige. So kaleidoscope, welcome theme for me. So all at once, it brings in blues, purples, and greens. The way to highlight this, in my opinion, is mirrors, and that's what I'm seeing the most of. So it could be anything from metallic balls, balloons, and what I like to do with the kaleidoscope is This works well for indoors or outdoors. If it's outdoor, these colors will catch the light, which is always nice. And indoors, you can easily play off pin spots in lighting to create a more metallic atmosphere. One cost-effective way to bring this in is the good old crushed iridescent linen. I'm not sure if you guys remember this one, but so right in between polyester linens and specialty linens are a group of mid-tier linens, the Lamores, the crushed iridescents, the crinkles. These are the price points that are usually between $25 and $35. And the crushed iridescent linen, which you're seeing here on the left side, is a great way to just tie in this kaleidoscope theme with the cost-effective linen. The linen that you're seeing on this slide right now is actually crushed iridescent aqua, and as you can see, even without a pin spot on it, it's pulling in purple. So it really ties in the theme well. There's a variety of colors in the crushed iridescent, and every rental company carries them. Reflective chargers are also something that are very in right now. Personally at Stuart, we just acquired 2 different colors. One is a champagne base and one is a chrome base, which you're seeing here. These are also great to just zhuzh up any simple table. It could go on top of a white linen or a black linen. So this is the #1 theme that I'm getting requests for right now. Stripes and chevrons are back. And some people may think they never left, but I think they did. And they're officially back and bigger and better, in my opinion. So one thing that I've learned about the stripes and the chevron patterns is it brings a lot of life into a dull space. So they create versatility and visual appeal and a sense of movement. So the sense of movement is the most important to me because when I'm planning an event, I'm always concerned about the flow. It's my worst nightmare to put all this time and energy and people just come in and go straight to their seat, or they're not mingling, they're not visiting the activations or the catering stations. And it has been proven that having these clean lines incorporated into your event help with flow and movement with your guest. So the chevron linen has always been very popular in universities, and now it's even coming back in bars, furniture. Personally, in-house at Stuart, we're building all sorts of furniture with wood reclaimed chevron facades. Chevron pattern is also known to create the most energy, even more than stripes. So to kind of speak about when I do choose stripes or chevron, I like a stripe linen if you're doing a busy program or you actually want people to pay attention to a speaker, which I know can be hard to do from time to time. And then I like the chevron linen for more of a reception energy, like create a little chaos. The chromatic revolution. Monochromatic is a trend that's been around for a while, but I'm starting to see it grow even more legs this year. So in my opinion, I agree, it's one of my favorites. It's sleek and sophisticated, and it's visually calming. The most popular colors are creams, blues, and greens, and it's strongly encouraged to mix in some metallics. So one thing that I specifically tell my clients is, like, the Pantone color spectrum is your friend. So I will always share, like, for example, if I'm just working with navy and I have a client that's, oh, I need navy, but there's actually about 3 shades of navy on the Pantone color spectrum. And mixing them all together to me looks glamorous, and every linen is the same price. And most rental companies will stock 3 to 4 different shades of each primary color in-house. So to me, it's just an easy way to elevate an event. Quiet and affordable luxury. So we all love luxury. And now I'm learning that, and this could be an optics things, or it could also be the current climate we're in where, budgets are being reduced and a lot of eyes are on what the event looks like. So we don't want to take out the luxury, but we do want to quiet it down a bit. In my opinion, these are the best ways to do it. So the Scandinavian design and the Japanese minimalism is what's very popular right now. And this includes materials like wood, stone, metal, and bamboo. So on this slide, you'll see these are our Roca China line. And this is a stoneware that is the same price as a porcelain plate, but just elevates the look and the feel. Same cost, but still makes the event feel a little bit more curated. Organic textures and woven table runners are here to stay, not going anywhere. Sleek glassware to create depth with geometric shapes, etched crystal and colored glasses are very popular. One thing I'm experiencing is guests are more experience-based and they want to like look and feel and touch, use all their senses. So instead of just holding a traditional stemmed water goblet that they've probably used a million times, if you, for maybe a price point of $1.25 per unit, these glasses on the bottom left add a pop of color. Guests notice them when they're holding them. So it looks good and it feels good. I think they've been a big hit. And lastly, for quiet and affordable luxury, I am still encouraging the jewel tones. It was very popular last year and it is still here. I don't think it's going anywhere for a while. And these are just the colors that look more luxurious than just say a standard primary color, blue, red, green. So instead of doing just a Kelly green, you can do an emerald green. Same price point, different elevation. One thing to say about the linens and the jewel tones is if the full linen is cost prohibitive, you can always go for a napkin. To me, it gives the same effect. That's what we're showing here in the top left photo. I mean, one napkin could start from $1, and just changed this whole tablescape from mundane brown oak to beautiful, quiet luxury. Maximalist place settings. This is definitely a trend that had to grow on me. I'm a minimalist by nature, but I'm working with it. And I do have to say, when I'm done setting my tablescapes, I always love it. So what we're working with is more is more. So focus on textures, colors, and patterns, blending patterns and hues. And this means you can really get crazy with it. Don't be afraid to do chevrons, stripes, and polka dots all at once. Stacking placemats and chargers is very in right now. So it used to be either or. And personally, I rarely use placemats in large scale events. But now I'm starting to look into procuring placemat inventory. And I'm having trouble convincing my CEO, he's not believing me, but I will share this slide with him. Says, it is a thing, more is more. My favorite thing that I am currently doing is unconventional use of table runners. So in this picture on the left, you'll see, instead of putting your table runner directly down the middle of the table, I like to move it to the right or the left. And now you have one big inclusive placemat. So instead of just one runner in the middle, I suggest two runners on the right and left side. And this is great for stacking, adding in color, textile, and also going back to what I said about guests liking to actually feel, not just see the color, see the textiles, but feel it. So it's nice to have that placemat right in front of you. Also, alternating china patterns is very in. It could be quite tedious for the caterer, but I love to have every plate different. Once again, could be quite tedious, but if you have the time or you have a smaller guest count, I'd say the sweet spot for this is around 30 to 40. It just is visually appealing and stunning. And in my opinion, it's the only thing you would need. You can still use white linen, white napkin, but if you're gonna go through the effort of changing each place setting, it's definitely a wow factor for your guest. Low cost, big result. These are some of my favorite things that I do. I try to make sure every event is gorgeous, no matter what the budget is. And in my experience, these are things that have always gave the events an elevated feel. So winding tables, serpentine versus rounds, they are the exact same price and they fit the same guest count. So it doesn't always have to be a 60-inch round. It can be an 8-foot serpentine table to create a nice winding flow. Me personally, I like to see movement when I walk into a room. So this is one of my like hacks, same price point, big effect. Paper lanterns are, apologies, I skipped back. I'm gonna run back through, guys, apologies. Okay, here we are. So the paper lanterns are replacing very pricey overhead chandeliers. Paper lanterns, we all know them, get them online from Amazon. They run anywhere from 50 cents to $3 a lantern. What I like to do is find rigging points that I can use. It could be a tree, it could be a wood-cladded walkway, but these are lightweight, they're hung with fishing wire, very easy to install and a bit time consuming, but like, look at what we're seeing right here. This was just a stunning visual for an entryway to an event. Get your guests excited. And in my opinion, what I've been seeing, it's about 75% less than chandeliers. Lighting as decor and battery operated uplights and gobos are a great investment. One LED uplight can cover up to 15 linear feet of space. So an uplight ranges between $70 and $80, and it's just a fraction of pipe and drape. I love uplights. I think it's a necessity. Even if you only have one or two, it's great. Second are the Lico lights with the gobos. I strongly encourage all my clients to purchase their own gobos. So each gobo is size B. You can purchase it for $50 and then all you have to rent is the light, or you may have an in-house AV team that already carries Lico lights. So what you're seeing here on the right is just what we call a wall facade pattern wash. This was done with one Lico light, which could span up to 40 linear feet. And as you guys know, Licos can be projected on walls or flooring. For universities, I do a lot of logos, but I also encourage my guests to feed into movement. Like, for example, if we go back to that kaleidoscope theme, it's all about geometric shapes and color. So if just one Lico light can cover a 40 by 40 area of space. Lastly, one of my favorite trends that's low cost, big result are minimal lounges. So historically, we all think of seating vignette lounge areas as one couch, two chairs, coffee table. But there's a new movement now where people just want to have a moment, a place to stop, take a picture for Instagram or talk to a friend. And this can easily be done with two chairs, an uplight behind it, and a rug. And it sounds simple, but from what I'm experiencing, the guests just love it. It's a fraction of the price of a full seating vignette. And I'm sure we've all been there where you get all of this lounge furniture, create all these vignettes, and no one uses it, which is terrible. So I think this is a low-cost way to still curate an event, show how much effort you put in, and give your guests a moment and a great experience. So I just want to thank everyone who took time to listen to this. Once again, sending good vibes to all of you for commencement. Please send some back my way as well. I'll need it. And I look forward to seeing you guys all at the conference at UC Berkeley. I'll be there.
Well, thanks, Cori. That was really awesome. We do have some questions that have come in. From Megan, what size linen do you recommend for serpentine tables? I love the look, but I'm wondering if linens lay nicely.
They do. So surprisingly, I use the same size that I do for a 6-foot table for a 6-foot serpentine. And it's not perfect because obviously there is some movement, but I stick with the rectangular linens. Some people prefer to use the round. Me personally, I do not. So if I'm doing a 6-foot serpentine table, I do a 6-foot table drape or 90 by 136. If I'm doing the 8-foot, I do 90 by 156.
Great. All right, thank you. Another question that has come in your introduction, there was a reference to large-scale experiential activations. Hopefully I'm saying that right. Can you tell us more about what experiential activation is, perhaps expand on the saloon?
Oh, I would love to. So the Clint Saloon is an activation at the AT&T Pro-Am, which is a PGA tour down at Pebble Beach. And this is also where I've done a lot of the experiential stations. And what they are just brand activations. So well, I'll start with Clint Saloon. That was we created a Western saloon with peanuts on the floor, like plywood flooring, ceiling treatments, swinging doors. So it starts with just the tent, and then the customization is all in the facades, the drapery, the ceiling treatments, and the furniture we use. So that was actually pretty cool. You can take a look at that one online. But another brand activation experiential stations we are doing are, just imagine if you're just renting a bar, that may just be a bar rental, but when we're trying to elevate it into a brand, like brand recognition, that's when we bring in the custom facades. So that is like one thing that I'm happy to share because it's not on our website, but these are built custom. And what happens is I design that for you. So like say, for example, on campus, you want to have a student activation that's going to entice them to come. What happens is you kind of tell me what you're looking to do, and I do an AutoCAD mock-up for you and then price that out. So it's all built custom based on your vision. But basically what experiential station means is attracting guests to come be part of your product or your experience.
Great. That sounds like it could be a lot of fun. Another question that has come in is that you indicated that the trends in your presentation are here to stay for a couple of years, but what are other emerging trends you think might dominate in the next 1 to 2 years?
So in my experience, things that influence the trends are surprisingly books, TV shows, things like that. So the first thing that comes to my mind is White Lotus. It could be because I'm a big fan. It could be because I've been seeing guests requesting what looks like the latest season. So what I think is coming that was not mentioned today are very floral-esque textiles. So I'm not necessarily meaning flowers. I mean like linens with palms on them, furniture that looks like a tree, or even like throw pillows that have flowers on them. I'm seeing just a lot of color, very tropical.
Interesting. Sam, you have your hand up.
I do. Question about the chevron pattern that you mentioned at the beginning of your presentation. You mentioned that it adds movement to events. Is that quite literal? Like you want to point the chevron pattern towards the direction you want people to move through a bar of banquet, or is it to kind of point at a speaker? Could you elaborate a little bit more on that?
Yes, definitely not literal. It's that one's more metaphorical. So, in a better way to describe it could be like kind of creating curiosity, like making your guests want to get up, walk around, mingle. So, and I think that's kind of what I was saying. Like, if you want your guests to come in, sit down for a quick luncheon and actually listen to the speaker, maybe take it easy on the chevron.
Good point. Good point. So you talked about the return of some of the kaleidoscope and the crushed linen, iridescent linens that are really kind of back in fashion. So a question that came in was, how can we differentiate between, or how do you differentiate between a passing fad and a lasting trend in event decor? What's the criteria?
That's a good question. In my experience, 75% of the trends are passing fad. What is here to stay is for sure a clean, curated, compartmentalized event. So I wouldn't call that a trend based on aesthetics, but breaking up your event where little things like you have a bar area, cocktail area, soft seating with the soft seating, buffets placed strategically where they're not interrupting the flow of an event. So I do think most of these trends are fads, and that's what also makes it hard for me to procure these products when I'm trying to convince my department to purchase $10,000 of iridescent balls. They're like, well, we're not going to be using these 5 years from now. And in all honesty, we don't. So I hope that answers the question, and I hope it's not too disappointing, but I actually look forward to changing trends.
No, no, absolutely. But that, I mean, for me, that raises the question though. So what happens? So you talk your CEO or your procurement officer into procuring you a large number of iridescent balls and plates and those kind of things. And then in a year or two, those things are out. What happens to those items? Do they go up for sale? Is that something that people can purchase? Where do you put them? I'm sure people would love to know how to purchase some of the cast-offs, because if there's something you really like, maybe that fits your campus theme, then you would want to keep it.
Yeah. Nope, we do every year at the end of our fiscal year, which is at the end of March, we do our annual inventory and purge. So the good thing about these trends and the usage is the items are so heavily used within that 1 or 2 period. I will say this, by the 3rd year, you may not want to come purchase it, or it's not in what we call a rentable condition. We don't want to send out products that are subpar. So the trend timeline actually works perfect with the life of the inventory. But if there is something like chairs or linens, we do have partners that we work with locally, nonprofits that we do donations to. We do a lot of donations to churches, but we also do a sale at the end of March every year. So we don't publicize it, but I think you guys are all welcome to reach out to me if you see something like or you're thinking about it. But we do it once a year. We do a purge.
Well, that's actually really good to know, because I'd like to remind you that all higher ed is nonprofit. So I think that there might be some people who'd be interested. I mean, I think that if that's a great opportunity. So thanks for answering that and giving us that little tidbit. That's some great news.
Yeah, no, if you guys have the space, there are tons of things at the end of every March that we'd be happy to gift to you.
Awesome. Okay. I'm going to put that on my calendar. I don't know about anybody else. Another question that came in was in the photo with the lanterns on the roof, which was gorgeous, by the way. They are wondering, did that present a challenge with the fire marshal?
No, surprisingly.
Okay.
But
So
that is a very good question.
Sure.
I'm like navigating through fire marshals left and right. And so how it was created was with lighting poles. So you know how you string bistro lights are 12-foot lighting poles, and then you kind of zigzag. So we do the exact same thing, except take out the bistro lights and put in a cable wire. And as long as the poles are weighted properly, that's the only thing in my experience that the fire marshal is looking for. Basically, each pole has to have a proper base that's at least 50 pounds. And depending how heavy the weight is, like what we saw on the slide, that was pretty heavy. So we actually had to weight those poles with 300-pound block.
Yeah, it makes sense.
So we did share that information with the fire marshal, but that was the only question that was asked, is the weighted bases.
Okay, that's good to know. What about sustainability? So as you know, a lot of campuses have strong sustainability programs. So the question here is, how sustainable and eco-friendly practices, how are sustainability and eco-friendly practices shaping decor decisions?
Sure. Well, we like to believe, I do believe, the rental industry is the most sustainable, because we know that you guys can easily order these items, maybe even sometimes a fraction of the price off of Amazon. But then after that, you're done with it. So the sustainability in the rental industry is that this comes back to our warehouse, it's washed and reused. But also when we look at fabrics that we're purchasing, there are certain fabrics that are recyclable and some that aren't. For example, AstroTurf is not recyclable. So we try to veer away from AstroTurf as much as we can, but carpet is recyclable. It has something to do with the product that is made under the backing. So we are, especially in Silicon Valley, and just California as a whole, very green. So am I. I appreciate these practices. So we do consider that when we're purchasing new textiles, what can be recycled after that 3-year period that we use it and we're purging.
Okay, that makes sense. Sustainability is, I mean, it's a personal goal for me. That's absolutely, for sure. And I know for a lot of our event professionals. Another question that came in was, have you seen any innovative materials, or what innovative materials or tech is being used in event decorations most recently? And there's another question that says, what role do digital and immersive elements like projection mapping or augmented reality play in decor trends now? So I think I could probably put two together, like innovative materials and tech. How are they affecting or influencing decorating trends?
Yeah, I was just talking about projection mapping this morning, and it has projection mapping in particular has really replaced drapery, which is also more sustainable. So previously for tents, we would do a custom chiffon drapery. I'm sure you guys have seen it many times. And now what I'm experiencing is we're keeping our tents bare and doing projection mapping, and it is gorgeous. Um, Another thing that's very in right now, uh, I guess textile wise, is spandex. Stretchy, it's called like polyspun or any sort of material that has to be taut is very in with the tech community right now and sports community. So what Stuart is doing is we're looking into liners for our tents that are veering away from that swagged swoop and now are looking like what would look like a sail, nice and tight.
Okay.
And I think, sorry, one more thing, Phyllis. I think that's playing into the clean lines and the geometric shapes that are so trendy right now. It's like people are really looking for those tight angles.
Yeah, I was gonna say we actually have some of, we call them like girdles for our tables and girdles for different places that we use them on. So yeah. What about, and this is I think really important for this particular group, how do you balance a client's vision with the current trends without compromising creativity and hitting their budget? I think that's we all want to be so creative, and yet we have these really tiny budgets. And so what's the process? And, is it true that you can work within any budget? And so kind of just talk about budget and, how you kind of approach that combination of wants, needs, and desire.
Yes, I mean, very difficult. And just like my clients, we all want the best, but then we all have to be realistic. So, personally, how I do it is what was mentioned on the previous slide with the cost-effective items. That's where it comes to mind. Like, I like to start with the small things that are the most cost-effective, like a napkin, an LED tea light, a votive. These things seem so small, but so small in the grand scheme of filling a ballroom with 350 people. But at the price point of $1 a unit, uh, I have to start with those to kind of build up the curation. And then what's left in the budget, I do always try to save for one wow factor. For me lately, that's been bars, circle bars, a nice square bar in the middle. Or another thing that it's been very popular for me that I'll save the budget for are shelvings, like back bars. I think displaying food on a back bar versus a 6-foot table, even if you can only afford one or two for a dessert station, then I'll make it a floating dessert station. Um, I think the way I combat that, short answer is I start with the small, cheaper items, build up as many as I can until my client and I start to feel a little bit more fulfilled and a little less, how are we going to make this look nice?
Right. So start small, save a big portion or a portion of it for a big wow factor.
Yes.
Like that. Good approach. So another question that just came in is, where do you source materials like paper, lanterns, those kind of things? I mean, obviously, you have your own sources, and I don't know if you want to share those with us, but you mentioned Amazon, but where do you source these materials? I mean, build these creative ideas.
Yeah, probably same place as you guys. The lanterns all come from orientaltradingcompany.com. I mean, they have the best lanterns. And the good thing about them is they're good quality where they're reusable. So you can kind of easily push them back down. You can bring them back out for the next event. Also good for sustainability. And similar to you guys, like outside of the large items, bars, sofas, a lot of the smaller inventory we use, I'm just online searching myself, searching Amazon, searching Wayfair, searching Oriental Trading Company. And then also, I'm lucky to have a huge warehouse attached to my office where we have like 5 custom fabricators that make a lot of this stuff for us in-house.
Right, that makes sense. That does. Okay, and then let's pay attention to global decor trends. So there's a question here about a couple of them about global. What are the global design influences or cultural aesthetics that are trending right now? And then how do you or can we adapt those global decor trends for local or regional audiences?
The biggest one that I'm seeing are um, the loud, extravagant textiles. For example, I'm working on a university gala coming up, and the table linen is very muted, just black linens, but the napkin is this crazy pattern. So it's really global influences and cultural influence of textiles. And what we do at Stuart is we buy the raw fabric and then we'll sew the napkins custom for that event. So if you're trying to bring in a global appeal, for me, the best way I do it is research the textiles of whatever culture you're trying to bring in or bring to life, and then create a piece based on that, whether it be a throw pillow or a linen or a full linen if budget allows.
Okay. Another question that we have is about challenges. So someone wants to know if you could share a time when a trend didn't go as planned, how did you adapt, and what did you learn from it? Because I think we're all very afraid to try something that might fail because, right, we have the expectation upon us that it's a no fail rate, right? But we all know that, plans do fail or themes or thoughts fail. So can you share something maybe where a trend didn't go well, it didn't happen, and then how did you adapt?
Well, that's a tough one. I do have to say I give a lot of grace to my team and myself. I like the way it's the best way to combat that for me is just do my best. So I know if I've done 100%, I've tried my best. But also to me, the proof is in the planning. That's why visuals are so important. If I'm taking a risk with the trend, I always do a showcase. I do a mock-up. I want the guests to come see it, feel it, see how heavy the glass is, see how bright the linen is. So the planning prevents the challenge. That's number one. And I will say, if or when it has gone wrong, I have lovely clients that haven't really told me, at least not to my face. So as far as a trend going wrong, so far, no experience there. But I have presented many trends and had them shut down quickly, like, oh, no way. And I don't take that personal.
Yeah, no, of course not. Right. We all have our limitations. So what advice would you give to event professionals who are trying to stay ahead of trend or decor trends? And how do you recommend that they do that? I mean, besides working with you, obviously we know that, but if they want
Yeah.
to do some research on their own, how do you stay ahead of trends and what would you recommend that they use?
Yeah, you guys are doing it right now. Like, this is why I love this group. I'm so happy to be here. I really lean on my event partners as well. And then personally, I take a lot of inspiration, like I mentioned earlier, from books and from trends on TV. Like, if something's trending, it's not a coincidence. Even if it's not my cup of tea, I will watch it, I will read it, I will like, even art exhibitions, like for example, here in the Bay Area, there's an air exhibition up at the Palace of Fine Arts in San Francisco. And I mean, it didn't sound necessarily enticing to me, but I went because if this is an activation that's traveling all over the world. So I went to kind of just experience the colors, the textiles. So my advice is just kind of be out there, go to the exhibits, especially if it's something global that's traveling, and take a look at what's trending. You don't have to necessarily watch a whole show, but some of these TV shows are just done so beautifully. The costumes, the decor, like even like the whole Bridgerton movement that came, like the French blues. Like as soon as I see these things, I kind of start to forecast and assume that they're coming down the pipeline soon.
Okay. So let's see, a couple last questions, and I do want to open it up for anybody who has like a really awful, location, or they want to, they have a challenge they want to ask you about specifically. Here it is for you. If you could only use 3 decor elements for an event, what 3 would they be?
Ooh, no price point? No,
Sure.
okay.
Yeah, why not? Let's do no price point right now. I mean, obviously, this is all theory, so.
First, I would display all of my food and beverage on upgraded tables, shelving, bars. I wouldn't have any food on banquet tables. I would just have tiers, different levels, different textures. I would bring in rugs or carpet. Even if there's carpet already in the room, I'm a big fan of carpet on carpet. And lastly, upgraded chairs. I love not only a comfortable chair that make your guests happy, but something that's beautiful and newly trending.
That's a good idea. What about, how do you feel about, and this is just off the cuff for me, how do you feel about chair covers, right? Because I mean, obviously, a lot of our budgets, if you're doing a seated dinner for 350, we're not going to have that budget. But what about
Yeah.
Chair covers?
I don't feel good about them.
Okay, well, why
And
not? Tell us about that.
and also in my experience, sometimes the price of a chair cover could be around $4, but there's some chairs that are for like a folding chair that is $4. And to me, it gives it a more contemporary look. Like, for example, not the basic Samsonite chair, but like a wood folding chair we have in 5 different stains, like from a light wood to a dark wood, and even a wood that looks like a natural wood grain, but it's actually resin. So if you're going to actually order the chair covers, it may be worth asking if there's a chair that is the same price point, if that's an opportunity. And then I'm thinking also from a labor standpoint, they're not the easiest thing to put on.
True. We just did a dinner for 350 people, and we had to have a team putting those chair covers on.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay, so before we open up, one last question for you, and then it's going to be, what trend or trends are you ready to say goodbye to forever?
Mm. Um, well, that's a tough one. I'd really have to think about that. I'd say, Phyllis, I may say chair covers. No. Um, oh, I don't know. I have to say I'm kind of getting over bistro lights. I'm leaning more towards, instead of using the Edison bulbs, I'm using LED strings.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't
Okay.
see it going anywhere, so.
Well,
But
that's okay.
okay.
That's okay. Yeah, good. All right. So I would like to open it up. If anybody would like to raise their hand, turn on their mic, and present a challenge that they have to Cori, and we'll see if she can come up with a creative solution for you.
I have one. We're doing a lot of small events and meetings in conference rooms, which are very beige and gray and have very corporate tables. Any thoughts on adding some kind of pop or something just to make that space look a little bit more exciting?
Is it meal service or just meeting?
Let's say just meeting.
Okay. Um, I always like pillows. A small, simple pillow. We rent our pillows for between $5 and $10. Adds little luxury, little comfort to the chairs. If the room allows and it's not too small, I think a nice woven pipe and drape warms up a room. It has to be like a fabric similar to like a jute, or like nothing shiny, nothing velvet, but something with texture, I think warms up a conference room space. And then always a plant or two really goes a long way, especially if there's no windows.
Mm. Oh, those are great ideas. I have one I want to share. So I think I mentioned you when we were doing a dry run. But so our university center, which hosts our auditorium, it does up to 600 and 100 in theater style, or 300 seated. it is very institutional, right? It's like Sam was saying, beige walls, and it's cinder block. And so we have long wanted to pipe and drape that wall, but it's just so expensive and we can't. And so if you had, if you could, what would you suggest that we do for that wall to make it more lively, more engaging, less institutional?
Oh, yes. Lighting, definitely the first thing that comes to mind. The pattern wash that I mentioned earlier is gorgeous and cost effective, but if your meeting is during the day, it's not going to be as efficient. Um, you can do a lot with pipe and drape hardware. Like you can for a fraction of the price order the uprights and the bases and crossbars if you don't have them, and then you can hang anything from that.
Hmm.
So you can easily hang like a twinkle curtain that has like the fairy drop lights. We rent those in 10 by 10 sections. So that's just like a whole wall of fairy lights. Or you can also bring in the lanterns that I discussed and do different sizes. Those come in as small as like 2 inches, 2 inch in diameter. So you can just do like a little monochromatic different sizes, and now it's almost turned into an art installation. Like
Oh,
once
that's
again, not the most time consuming thing, but very cost effective and definitely gives a strong wow factor.
Oh yeah, thank you. That's a great idea. I can visualize that. Kimberly, you have your hand up.
Thank you, and thank you for this event. It's really great and helpful. I am curious, is there really anything you can use to say adhere a decoration to a wall without pulling the paint?
Oh yes. Kimberly, have you tried the low adhesive um, kind of not tape, but it's like a double stick tack?
No, no.
Okay, so there are low adhe, and this is exactly what it's called. Low adhesive tapes are low adhesive, kind of a double stick, like a square or a tack. And we use these quite often with at concerts. So you know how when sometimes we set up all the chairs and then they'll put a label like seat number 1, 2, and that's where we first learned about the low adhesive stickies because we would pull that off and the paint would come right off. And then now
Yeah.
we just ruined 3,000 chairs. So
Yeah.
it is doable, similar to what gaffer's tape is for installing carpet, like on a gym floor. There is a low adhesive sticky. Oh, I
Thank you.
think I just saw in the chat. What is that called?
Command. Somebody said.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, y'all.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
All right, thank you, Kimberly. Eddie.
Thank you. Great information. Thank you, Cori, very much. I am planning a disco themed year-end celebration. We have a limited budget and and I'm looking for decoration ideas. We can't really put anything on the walls because there's really a lot of windows. So I'm trying to think of decorating ideas more for tablescape. What
Okay.
comes to your mind and what can we use?
Well, I'm already loving a lot of windows that'll complement the disco with the natural light. And the disco theme is very on trend with the kaleidoscope.
Mhm.
So I think you might want to bring in that crushed iridescent. It usually comes in 3 different colors of silver, and I would use all 3 of them. And if you can incorporate some sort of table runner or napkin, to me, that would be like a no-brainer. And for the disco ball itself, that's where you're going to want to bring in that reflective, shiny aspects. Is this reception or is there food service
It's a
involved?
luncheon. Yeah,
Okay, and
a
during
lunch.
the day.
Yes.
Okay. Ooh, I wish I could see the room. I'm already interested. But I think you're definitely going to want to play up obviously the silvers, and the best color that complements it, in my opinion, especially during the day, are purples. So if I'm you, I'm leaning towards monochromatic and all the colors of silver slash gray, and then bring in some purple if allowed.
Purple's my favorite color. So that
Well, I
works
know you
well.
guys have tight restrictions on color, so if
Yeah,
allowed.
yeah. And Kimberly, yes, Bee Gees, we have a lot of music planned. So yeah, that's great.
Were you gonna do a full linen or?
Yes, we will have a linen.
Yeah, definitely look into that crushed iridescent. It very much complementary to the disco ball theme.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, anyone else have any questions before we say goodbye to our fabulous Cori, who is giving us so much great information. I know I'm gonna go back and watch this again and take better notes. When I'm emceeing, it's hard for me to take notes, but I love some of the suggestions.
Thank you.
All right, well, I just want to extend a big thank you, Cori, for sharing your time, your talent with us today. So much great information shared and ready to be put to use. For those who would like to review this presentation and for those who weren't able to join us, this session was recorded and will be available to view on the CSU plus UC EPN's internet, but please give us 48 hours to get it posted. Also, please mark your calendar now to join us next month on May 22nd at 11 a.m., where we will present our next hot topic, building your network through LinkedIn. And check your email for the link to sign up and help us spread the word. And thank you so much. Thanks everyone for being here. Really appreciate all of you.
Thank you.
Yep, see you at the conference. Thanks, Sam.